In previous class, we have done the relation between mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. Today, we will do some lever. So, lever are the simplest kind of machine used in our daily life. Lever is the simplest kind of machine. It is a rigid, straight bar capable of turning about a fixed axis. Lever, you can consider it as a shaft which is pivoted at a point, and you can place you can apply effort for raising a load. So there are three class of lever. This is first class. You can see the position of fulcrum. This is effort and load. In first class lever, the effort arm is the distance between fulcrum and effort, and the load arm is the distance between fulcrum and load. In this class, effort arm is greater than the load arm. Second class, the fulcrum is at any end of shaft and the load is here and effort is here. So effort arm will be distance between effort and this fulcrum, and load arm will be distance between load and fulcrum. This is the third class of lever, in which fulcrum is also at any end of shaft, but at other end there will be load. In second class, at the other end there is effort, and in the third class at other end there will be a load. So now the principle of lever. A lever work on a principle of moment, according to which in equilibrium position, I have told you, this works on the principle of moment. According to that principle, in an equilibrium position, the total anti-clockwise movement is equal to total clockwise movement. So from the principle of movement, clockwise movement of load about fulcrum, anti-clockwise movement of fulcrum about effort. So load into load arm. So this is load upon effort is equal to FA upon FB. Now load over effort, as we know, this is mechanical advantage. So the mechanical advantage is equal to effort arm upon load arm. So the value of effort arm and the load arm will decide which class a given lever belongs to which class. This relation MA is equal to effort arm over load arm is also known as laws of lever. So the mechanical advantage of lever is equal to the ratio of length of effort arm to the length of its load arm. From this equation, as I told you, the value of mechanical advantage tells us that any given lever belongs to which class. So if effort arm is equal to load arm, then the mechanical advantage is 1. If effort arm is greater than load arm, then the mechanical advantage is greater than 1. And the effort arm is less than load arm, so the mechanical advantage is less than 1. So there are three kinds of lever depending upon the relative position of the effort, load and fulcrum. There are three categories in which we can divide a lever: class first, class second and class third. So class first lever, the fulcrum is in the between of the effort and load, as shown in a figure 3.1a. So this is the figure of first class lever. In this lever, the fulcrum is between effort and load. It is not necessary that the fulcrum should be at the middle point of this lever, in between, anywhere. So this is the first class lever. The fulcrum is in the between effort and the load. And here is a note point. Note that the fulcrum need not be at the midpoint between L and effort. It means the fulcrum can anywhere between the load and effort, not necessary in midpoint. So the example you have learned: a seesaw, pair of scissors, crowbar, handle of a water pump, claw hammer, pair of pliers, beam of physical balance, spade used to turning the soil, or the example of class first lever. So you have to learn the value of mechanical advantage for every type of lever with some example. This is very important. So for first class lever, the mechanical advantage and velocity ratio can have any value, either greater than 1, equal to 1 and less than 1. Now, when the effort arm is longer than the load arm, the mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio of the ideal class first lever are greater than 1. It means it works as force multiplier. If for any lever mechanical advantage is greater than 1, then it will act as a force multiplier, and if the mechanical advantage and velocity ratio are equal to 1, then it will use to change the direction of applied effort. Now the class second lever. Now class second lever. In this type of lever, the fulcrum F and the effort E are the two ends of a lever, and load is somewhere in between of effort and fulcrum. So in this type of lever, the fulcrum and the effort are at the two ends of lever. You can see from this figure, the fulcrum and the effort are at the two ends of lever, and the load is somewhere in between effort and fulcrum. So the load and effort are on the same side of fulcrum but in opposite direction, and the effort arm is always longer than the load arm. It's a very important point for class second lever. The effort arm is always longer than the load arm. So mechanical advantage for the second class lever is always greater than 1, and since in ideal machine MA is equal to VR, hence VR is also greater than 1. So the mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio of class second lever are always more than 1, because effort arm is longer than the load arm. In other words, we can say the class second lever always acts as a force multiplier. A less effort is needed to overcome a large load. For example, in a nut cracker, and a hard nut is broken by applying small effort. So for second class lever, it should be remembered that the mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio of class second lever are always more than 1. So here are some examples: a nut cracker, a bottle opener, a wheelbarrow, a lemon crusher, a paper cutter, a mango cutter, a bar used to lift a load, a door raising a weight of human body on toes are the example of second class lever. Now the class third lever. In this type of lever, the fulcrum and the load. In class second lever, fulcrum and effort are the two ends of the lever, but in third class lever, this is third class lever, the fulcrum and the load are at the two ends, and the effort is somewhere in between the fulcrum and the load. So the load arm is always greater than the effort arm. So mechanical advantage for class third lever is always less than 1, and for ideal machine mechanical advantage is equal to VR. So VR is also less than 1. So mechanical advantage and the velocity ratio for the third class lever are always less than 1. So it will act as a velocity multiplier. Here are some example of class third lever: sugar tong, the 4R used for the lifting a load, fire tong, foot treadle. Okay, and here are very important, the topic 3.7 is a very important example of each class of lever as found in the human body. You have to learn it. Now the exercise, we will do example here of chapter 3rd A. A machine is driven by 100 kg mass that fall 8 meter in 4 seconds. It lifts a load of mass this vertically upward, taking G is equal to this. Calculate force exerted by the falling mass, the work done by the falling mass in its displacement by 8 meter, the power input to machine, the power output to machine if efficiency is 60%. I have told you About efficiency, what is it? This is the ratio between output over input, whatever it is. Output energy over input energy, output power over input power, and the work done by the machine in 4 seconds. So here M is equal to 100 kg, distance 8 meter, time 4 seconds, and L, this is load, is equal to 500 kg. The force exerted by the falling mass is equal to mg. Okay, if anybody is if anything is in a free fall situation, then the force exerted by the body will be its weight. So the force exerted by the falling mass is equal to mg, that is 100 into 10,000 Newton. Now the work done by the falling mass, force exerted by the falling mass into displacement, work done, we have done. This work done is equal to force into displacement in the direction of force. So force exerted by the body is mg, weight of this body, and the displacement is 8 meter given in question. So the work done is 8000 joule. Now the power input, work done on machine by time, W over T. We can find the power in watt. Now the efficiency is 60%. 60% means 60 over 100. We have to put 100 in denominator for removing this percentage sign. So we have to find power output. So efficiency is given by power output over power input. So we have to find power output. Power output is equal to power input into efficiency. Simple. Put the value of power input, that is 2000 watt, and efficiency is 0.6. So it is 1200 watt. Now in last part we have to calculate the work done by the machine in 4 seconds. So work done by the machine, P into T. We know P is equal to W over T. So W is equal to P into T. Power output into T. Power output is 1200 watt into 4 seconds. This is 4800 joule. Okay. Example number 2 and 3 you will do yourself. In the next video we will discuss some other sample problem.